They shaded the roses. Well, back in the late 90s when I visited, they saw that those antique roses were never in 1,000 years ever going to do anything. So they pulled them over in a sunny area, which today we're calling the sensory garden. However, I heard in the last year or so, they have been advised at Garland Gardens that roses are highly labor intensive. So you're paying people to maintain a rose garden. Maybe yes and maybe no. So they have abandoned the idea of putting in an antique rose garden out at Garland, which I'm sorry to hear, but there's realities that have to do with running a public garden like Garland Gardens. So let's keep going here. We're doing a good job. The old blush from 1789 arrived in England, and that was the beginning of hybridization and of development and crossbreeding of roses. The noisette, there was a Philippe Noisette, gentleman out of South Carolina, who loved roses, who cultivated roses. He went to Europe, he went to France, and he continued. And he has been very, what can I say? Noisette roses are very highly prized and highly regarded. And the first noisette arrived in Louisiana and was crossed in our country here when they started crossing roses with the Japanese pink cluster. And we have now the blush noisettes. Also around this time, the noisettes arrived in Bourbon. Bourbon is the island east coast of Africa. It's called Réunion. It's a colony, or I guess it would be a protectorate. It belongs to France. And it is a French-speaking country, and that is where the Bourbon roses come from. Very, very popular, and we see Bourbon roses in our nurseries today. In the 1800s, we got tea-scented tea roses. Tea-scented roses from China. And between 1821 and 1830, we had 27 varieties that had been created. Modern roses, what we're calling modern roses, came about in 1837, but it wasn't until 1867 that we begin to see the cultivation of hybrid tea roses. Very, very popular in our gardens. We love them, but roll your sleeves up, folks, because they are work. And they are, they're kind of disease prone, to tell you the truth. They're kind of a bit of a headache, I'll say it that way. It sounds like I don't advocate hybrid teas, and I'll be very frank and honest with you. Beautiful flowers, gorgeous, big, and on the end of a long stem, you can get an absolute knockout flower. And they bloom, and they'll bloom about every month or every 2 months. They don't bloom as frequently or as prolifically as what you would see with knockouts or drifts. Everybody knows about knockouts and drifts.
I
You grow roses.
I do, but I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'm not familiar at all with drifts.
Drifts are kind of like the next generation out of knockouts. Knockouts came to us in the 1990s. And I think from my background in genetics, a knockout in genetics has to do with gene content that has been turned off in a person. Knockout genes that have been knocked out have been turned off, and perhaps in plants as well. So I'm thinking that's kind of how the name knockout came about. Don't quote me because I'm not a sure about it. I'm not sure about it. I'm reaching it. So what we have is, we have species roses, which are wild roses. We have old roses, antique roses. We have what we're calling modern roses that have been developed since the 1800s. And then we have hybrid teas that came about after 1867. And we have, those roses really have been recognized and are, most of the roses, I'll tell you the year the roses came out in this American Rose listing publication. So, for example, New Dawn. Has anyone heard of the New Dawn? It's a climber. Very, very, the most planted rose in the United States. New Dawn. Has anyone been to Little Rock? Have you been to Broadway and the I-630, which is on the south side of downtown, south of downtown in Little Rock? There is a cemetery. And on that cemetery, and they're on their downhill at the moment, but about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that fence on that cemetery was a spectacular display of New Dawn climbers. Just absolutely beautiful. People go to the cemetery. It has a lot of Arkansas history. Has a lot of I'm not off on a tangent here, but I can talk. But a lot of original governors, a lot of original historical figures from Arkansas history are buried at the New Hope Cemetery, and you can have a tour if you wish. But the time to go to see the New Dawn roses is in April. Try to go, maybe, depending on the weather. This is tricky because every year is going to be a little bit different. But the roses in this part, in my experience, in this part of the world, April is the time to see. They peak, they bloom, they go nuts. I mean, they are just tumbling all over themselves.
That's a pink rose.
Pardon me?
That's a pink rose.
It's a white with a pink center.
Okay.
New Dawn is a white with a pink center. It is disarmingly gorgeous, in my opinion. I will tell you that your knockouts and your drifts will bloom until you'll have knockouts and drifts on your Thanksgiving table. They will bloom all the way across the summer. They don't like the heat. And they're not terribly happy when it is more than 70 degrees at night. Roses like a cold night. They're a bit thirsty, and they do want sun. Roses want sun. You can have a few roses. Actually, if you are looking for roses and you do have a shady yard, certainly call. I've had the experience of talking to the Antique Rose Emporium and telling them, got maybe 4 hours of sun. They will suggest roses that will still do good in your garden. I have a rose called Marie Pavie, P-A-V-I-E, thornless. However, the deer love them. And generally the deer in my yard, which they come and visit almost every single day, they will chew up everything, and they will leave roses kind of later in the year will they start chewing on the roses after they've eaten everything else that they can eat and digest. But yeah, I would say generally Antique Rose Emporium is they're very knowledgeable, very, very good. So let's keep going here. We're doing a good job. This hybrid teas started in 1867 of Floribundas, the second most cultivated rose, developed by Guyot from Rosa multiflora in Lyon, France. I will say that Floribundas are big bushes. They can climb, and they make you flowers. So they're a very popular variety of roses. Let's keep going. What do you got? They grow in temperate, they don't like to be cooked. They do not want hot weather. But they will make it here in Arkansas, especially if it's cool in the evening. They don't want to be frozen either. They don't want to go below 10 degrees at night or even in the daytime. They like 4 to 6 hours of sun, and they're a little on the alkaline side. They don't like acid. And so don't put a rose near a pine tree where they give that pine straw. They're not going to be happy. They like a little tiny bit toward alkaline. I put eggshells on my roses. I put banana peels on everything. Is everybody putting banana peels on their garden? Bananas, I've heard of people putting the whole fruit out there. But bananas will give your plants potassium, which helps them. They love that. Eat it up. And it helps them absorb other nutrients from the microbiome in your soil. So I will urge you to put bananas or banana peels. And on your roses, put your eggshells. Never throw out your eggshells. I know all of you have a hard-boiled egg every single morning in your Save the eggshells and put them on your roses. They will thank you for it. You'll be glad you did.
Rita, on the banana peels,
Yeah,
are you supposed to chop them down to like bite size?
I don't care. You can, of course, yeah, you can. But or you can amend them and, try to blend them into the top, so then just throw them on top. Don't worry. I'm not very, does it sound like I'm not a fussy gardener? No.
No, it's not science.
I'm moving too fast. Keep going and bang, that's your banana, get happy, They are, don't water the leaves. Water under the plant if you possibly can. And those of you who have watering systems that wave water across your lawns or wave water across your gardens, actually they're going to put water on top of the plants, not because roses are very prone, in this part of the world, they're very prone to black spot, other fungal diseases. Roses are, let's see, is disease next? No, more climate and mulchers and fertilizers. I like fertilizers. I'm in pots, so I'm going to put fertilizers in my pots about every month or every 2 months. Not heavily, just sprinkle like salt and pepper. Not heavily, but lightly, because the pots drain, and the fertilizer will eventually drain out of the pot. So you do have to renew the fertilizer in there. And I would say bone and fish meal are helpful. Do deadhead. In a minute after I finish my presentation, I'm going to show you how to deadhead. This is the door prize. Maybe all of you have your little blue tickets? Okay, this is a good one. Jody and I went to the Sod Sisters. How many of you know about Sod and Turf over near the near the Overpipe? That's a beautiful place to visit at the moment. But they do have some awfully nice roses, and they have drifts. But this one, we both looked at this, didn't we, Jody? We both looked at this and said, this is the best rose on the property. So we picked it out for your enjoyment, and I hope one of you will enjoy it. One of them will enjoy it, because somebody is going to get the prize. We're going to show you how to deadhead it, and it has a little bit of black spot. Generally speaking, knockouts and drifts are not as prone to diseases. Usually, maybe, but there's a couple of little spots here that I'm going to pick off And rather than spray, folks, have you heard of weed and feed? It's an oxymoron. It's feeding the weeds.
Yeah.
The other thing about putting chemicals on your garden, those chemicals get down into the microbiome, they get back up into your plants, and they are up into the flowers, and our pollinator friends that we are hoping to keep and cultivate and preserve and hope that they feed us for the next 150 years, that kills them. Because that poison gets back up into the flower, and they're feeding on the flower, or they visit the flower, they're busy pollinating, but if they take any of that poison in, it pretty much finishes them off. So that's part of the reason why we're losing our pollinators. Millions and millions and millions of butterflies are lost every year. Gone. So please, in my advice, if you don't take anything else home as a message from me, is please do not put chemical poisons on your gardens. Please do not do that. Unless you don't care if your kids starve or your grandchildren starve. And for some people, I guess, maybe you kind of wish they'd starve. Yeah, okay. How are we doing? When I prune, I'm going to prune above a 5-leaflet leaf, and I'll show you all. You can all come up and see this in a minute when we get to it. Let's go to the next and see what we got there. Black spot and powdery mildew. Ouch. Fungal diseases is what we see here. Powdery mildew seems to affect the gallicas and the bourbon mostly. Viral, now, the one thing about viral, you got rose rosette, which is absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. But other than rose rosette, viruses are not as bothersome for roses. And some pests can be picked off by hand if you don't mind handling pests. With your fingers. A rose rosette. How many of you remember Mr. Byers from the Garland Gardens? Well, he left us, we can go ahead. He left us probably, about 10 years ago now, something like that. Went to Fort Worth, went to the botanical garden and headed up the botanical garden. And when he got there, they had a gorgeous rose garden. You could grow roses in Texas, as you all probably know. But he had rose rosette on many, many, many of the roses in that garden, almost all of them. And he had a special opening plan for the next year. And as you may know, people in public gardens do a lot of long-term planning, and he knew that that rose garden was going to be trashed because there was so much rose that he pulled every single rose that it thickens, there's thorns, it's ugly on the leaves. It's a very grotesque kind of a look. And let's see if there's a picture. Yeah, it's a very grotesque, pull it. Because it will, number one, it's going to kill the plant, and number two, it's going to get on all the other roses around it. Get it out of there and get it in the trash or burn it or whatever you have to do to destroy that plant. Rose rosette is extreme, it's fatal. And there's no cure. There's no treatment for it.
What causes that?
It's a virus. And frankly, I don't know what causes, I can't answer that question, I just don't know. But yes.
Does the virus live in the soil? I mean, do you have to
sterilize your soil.
Not that I'm aware you have to do much to the soil, it's the plant and the roots. You want to get it out at all costs. Unless you don't care about your roses, yeah, you want to get rid of it, yeah. And there's a website that will, Oklahoma State University and their Oklahoma people have a very, very good, very valuable website that you may let them know about. And they're very helpful, explain things to you and explain, what will help you.
Does it travel from plant to plant?
Oh, yeah, highly contagious. Oh, yeah.
So what's the mode of transmission?
Pardon?
The mode of transmission is airborne or is it?
Airborne, yeah. Or if it's close enough, it brushes on the next one, yeah. Don't put your fingers on it and then turn around and take care of another plant. Transfer it that way. Yeah, I know you all wear your gloves, your protective gloves when you're out in your gardens. But wash them in between. Sure. Okay, let's see what else we have to say. Propagation, now this is tricky. This is tricky. I've done it once. But it is tricky. You have to cut the stem above the bud, and you have to take that stem that you cut with a bud on it and dip it in a little bit of what do they say, root powder. Put it in a cup with soil, potting soil, whatever kind of soil, and moist. Put that in a dark place with a cover over it, wait 2 weeks, take the cover off and see if you've got roots from that stem.
In a dark place. So it needs to be like a waxed milk carton?
A wax milk carton, but you have to cover the top, so it's dark in there.
Okay. It needs to be
And theoretically, you'll get roots. I've done it, I've been successful one time.
I tried this summer and I didn't get any.
Yeah, I've tried it several times, but it's very iffy. It's very, you're pure luck if you get it to do. The Antique Rose Emporium propagates a lot of their roses with this method. That man that came to Garland and gave us a cup said he puts 3 stems together in a cup with potting soil, moist potting soil, puts the top over it, says his prayers, and waits 2 to 3 weeks, but takes the top off, and he's got 3 stems with roots on them. Well, lucky him. That ain't happening to my house, but I have done it once. I won't say it yet, but it is very iffy, very iffy. Now it's difficult. There are people that someone was here asking me about grafting roses. Yeah, was it?
Well, we were talking about.
We're talking about grafting. I know almost nothing about grafting. You can't split the base and cut the sides of the rows that you're hoping to graft on, and then wrap it up real good, and, hope that it will take.
So are the knockouts grafted?
Many of the knockouts are grafted, but the knockouts themselves have been so successful, they've been able to propagate them. But don't you dare try it, because they're copyrighted and patented and.
Well, all the 11 roses that I just ordered with your inspiration, I got from heirloom roses. And they only have plants on their own roots. Nothing is grafted.
So that's interesting, yeah. The base is often Mr. Lincoln. The base can be Chrysler Imperial. Mr. Lincoln is a red rose that shoots up, and up at the top is a beautiful, beautiful hybrid tea red rose. grants prizes at every Rose Society. You ever want to visit or you ever want to meet people in a Rose meeting? Mr. Lincoln, oh boy. But it is the base, often it is the base for a draft. Again, Chrysler Imperial can be seen, there's others that are popular, but I will say the one I've heard more about has been Mr. Lincoln.
I have a Mr. Lincoln for about 10 years and it's always come back, whatever.
It's a good worker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to propagate mine, I just bend over a stem, strip off the leaves and put a rock on it. The roots will grow right up on it.
Will the propagated stem develop roses?
I haven't moved them to a different location. And so I don't recall if they ever propagated roses. I just let them grow. I don't ever touch my roses at all. Don't ever prune them, deadhead them,
Good
nothing.
luck getting them to sprout.
Yeah,
And to develop roots.
yeah.
Well,
A lot of stuff, that's what I do. I just strip the leaves back and put a little dirt on it, throw a rock on it, or a little
Sure.
landscape pen, and
Sure.
got a new.
We'll see if they'll make roses.
All right.
If you look like they're well established and they're, gonna do pretty good on their own, move them and see if they won't make roses.
My Mr. Lincoln, I think it only gets half a day's sun, if that.
Really?
Yeah. And it seems to put more roses on in the middle of the summer than anything.
I will say Mr. Lincoln is a very popular, the red rose is very, very popular and often wins prizes in any kind of a Rose Society event. When they, people bring their roses in. And all of you, have any of you been to a Rose Society or, a meeting of the Rose people? They will bring a pot with their very favorite, most gorgeous peak of bloom to that meeting. And everyone visits the whole display. There are maybe 10, 20 roses, depending on how many people, of course. And often then Mr. Lincoln takes a prize.
I don't ever mess with mine that much, but I've had it for 10 years. It always comes back.
Yeah, it's a good
Sometimes it'll die down to the ground, sometimes it won't.
It's a good performer. It's what can I say? It's worth the money.
Yeah.
It's worth the money. Okay, let's see, what else are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about our references, which you would have at the bottom of your page. So shall we prune here?
Want to turn the light on in the back?
Rita,
Yes,
you were talking about the Sod Sisters on Albert Pike.
yes.
What's the name of is it called
It's Sod and Turf.
Sod and Turf?
Hot Springs Sod and Turf. Those of us who know them and like them, we call them the Sod Sisters.
Jenny and Jane, both begin with J's.
Yeah. They're very helpful. I've had, last fall, I wanted kale, decorative kale for my garden and some of my pots. That woman went over there and dug up a kale plant and sold it to me. It was a really pretty one that she should have kept, as a display in her business, but she did. I can't say enough of them. They're wonderful, really sweethearts. And the other favorite place, I'm down on Lowe's at the moment. I've heard that Lowe's buys C and D grade plants from growers, because if they don't get sold, they can return them and, kind of come out financially. But Sod and Turf, and the lady out on Country Garden, way out, where the Dougie Dude Ranch is, way out there on 270. Those two will buy grade A and B plants. And this other stuff lives and it performs well. It's a little pricier, it's a little bit more. You're gonna get it half price of this other one's good, but wonderful. Southern would have to be picky, because Southern is like they threw seeds
Yeah.
on a whole bunch of seed pots. Some of them make it and some of them don't, so you gotta be picky about what you get if you go into Southern. I hate to look at Southern ones, like, I'm okay with Southern ones.
And the place that you said has A and B grade,
Sod and
that's
turf,
the sod and turf.
sod and turf, and then country garden.
Oh, country garden.
Country garden, way out there. Pack a lunch.
Like black snake.
Pardon me?
It's almost a black snake, where it's out like a black
It
snake.
is, yeah, it's on out there, it's west of town,
Just past the detention center.
oh, way past the detention, yeah, pack a lunch.
Almost. Yeah, at a half a mile past.
It's on out there, yeah, it's on, if you're driving out there, it'll be, here's the Doggy Dude Ranch, and the Sodom, or the country garden will be, opposite on the right-hand side of the road. So let's, here we go, does anybody want to come up and see this up close, or, I see if I can't just demonstrate. Here's his, now we have a 3 and a 5. See this 5 over here, and see this 3? If you don't have nothing but 3s, prune above the 3. But if you can find a 5 leaflet, a 5, like that, can y'all see that? You can find a 5. There, I'm gonna put right in there. Oh my God, there's a bug in there. Well, so much for him.
Much.
Now, there are people that are picky about which direction. This away, here you prune, this away. And some people will say, and I better not say because I'm not exactly sure, but depending on the direction, the next shoot will go according to the direction that you prune. So you all may just watch about, pay attention to it. We're gonna try it this way. Whoever gets this flower, please let us know. Okay. And take the paper with you, because you're gonna need it under your, in your vehicle. Oh, do we have another picture? Oh my goodness, let me see, yes. Oh, we've got a 5, a 3, a 5. Let's go above that fiber. See him? That fiber there? I'll give him a sniff. Okay, now I see another one. Let's just see. Mr. Hancock. Well, this is an orangey pink with a yellow center. It's a real pretty one. Okay, here we go. This little guy is gonna be tricky. Well, you know what? He doesn't have any, he's sort of onto himself. So we're just gonna give him a kiss goodbye. Always bypass pruners. They bypass the, olive oil on the blade. It keeps the blades nice. So, or do we have any more of those yellow? Yes, we do. Let's take them off. And he's been fertile. I gave him food yesterday, and he had a nice drink last night.
Yeah, he's under the lip. Yeah, one of those fire. Fire.
No, we don't want it in there.
Oh, there you go.
Well, every morning you can catch me out in my garden.
The alarm will go off, it says.
Looking for,
I'm not going all the way outside.
They love to see yellow ladies.
what's disease pick. Get rid of it.
Yeah, sorry. Spiders.
Well, very, very good, everybody. You all did well. Any more questions?
Can you plant roses next to peonies? Is that a good choice?
Now, the peonies might like more acid soil. Might try to find out what kind of soil peonies want, because roses don't like, they're not going to be happy near acid. Any kind of pine, I know all you have pine trees around your properties. They don't like their pine, those pine needles. But if you can protect them and keep them from having too much acid, they'll do okay. They'll do good. Okay, what else am I picking out here? I'm a rose picker, as you can tell.
So when you prune this down, like in February, if I'm so lucky to get this, then how far down do you go?
Oh,
Like 6 inches?
I'd only give them, well, that's what you don't have to prune them so hard. Hybrid teas want to take almost all the way down, maybe a foot or so, 2 feet from the surface. But, all your drifts and your knockouts and I don't know, I might give them a haircut there. Yeah.
Can that one stay in a container or?
Eventually he's gonna have to have a better, this is a pretty good sized container, but eventually he's gonna look for more space. You don't wanna squeeze them too bad. Well, I'm having a time of it, leaves.
So will eventually it have to be put into the frame?
Some people would. I don't, I keep all, mine are all in pots. Don't worry about it, just, they do okay. Of course, I'm out there talking to them every day. So.
Yeah.
Is it time to find out who the lucky owner is?
I think it is. If y'all want to take your seats and get out your blue tickets.
Yeah.
I think Nancy's got the bucket and we'll ask Rita to draw lucky winners. We have 2 prizes today. We'll have, of course, the rose, I imagine that's the one everybody wants first. But I also have a book from the garden. It's kind of a gridded journal that you can kind of look at just what you're doing in your garden. Wait, one more to put in. Wait, we got one more to put in.
We got another one to put in.
Okay, let's get them mixed up.
There's so much for that one.
So I guess, is this for a drawing?
Yeah, for a little giveaway.
And you keep this house.
Oh.
She's gonna control your own number tonight, and I'm not having it.
7,600. 7600.
Wow, look at you! So I take it you like the rose?
Okay.
Well, we'll do another drawing for the little book.
Oh, I put them back in there.
Well, we know she was 7,600.
Yeah.
Then let her draw next.
Yeah.
If you draw your own number, you have to draw again.
Then she should draw one.
Okay, and I'm looking at 7614.
That's me. Oh, you want her here? I'll put it down.
That's funny.
I know the rest of you think this was great.
Well, thank you all for coming, and
Yes.
hopefully you learned a little bit about roses. Rita, thank you so much. And again, we will have another Know What You're Growing session on June 21st. It'll be right here, same time, 10 o'clock, and it'll be on herbs. So we're very excited. Mary Ann Jarvis is going to come and talk to us about herbs. Have a great day. Marvelous. Thank you.
Working hard.
And I'm looking at the forecast, and that's what I want to talk to you about, is our Florida child that's, she's having a hard time. We have a lot of different opinions on her. Well, it's a Floribunda, and it's, let's see, what year did they put it in? Because we decided it was, what was it, the 19th? When it was a celebration.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Always looking for people to get in there.
Money? Yeah.
And it's a beautiful color.
I think a lot of